Greetings nerdlings, and welcome to AmalgamNation presents World of Lorecraft, Herocraft, Uther the Lightbringer edition. Before I get started, I just want to apologise for the lack of content recently. I've been going through some personal stuff, and at the moment it's way too goddamn motherfucking warm. And sorry about all the swearing, but goddamn is it warm here. Uther was a knight and apprentice cleric to Archbishop Alonsus Fowl during the First War, and had been a worshipper of the Holy Light since his youth. Uther met the Archbishop when he was simply Bishop Fowl, and he served as Uther's spiritual advisor and mentor. When the refugees and survivors from the south emerged in Lordaeron, Uther went to Balnir Farmstead in order to get Artus, who was watching the birth of Invincible, and take him back to the capital city. On their way back, the knight told the prince about the fall of Stormwind and the coming of Prince Varian Wrynn and Lord Anduin Lothar. The fall of Stormwind made Fowl realize that sometimes faith was not enough to combat the evil forces of the world. He decided to create a new order that could fight the enemy with both the gift of light and martial prowess. He offered Uther a place among them, thus the Knights of the Silver Hands, the Paladins, were born. At the Alonsus Chapel in Stratholme, Uther became the first of the new order and their leader. It was a glorious moment for the Alliance of Lordaeron and believers of the Holy Light. Uther participated in some of the bloodiest conflicts in the Second War, including Orgrim Doomhammer's siege of the capital city, in which he aided in the victory over the Horde. Weakened by Gul'dan's betrayal and the resultant redeploying of forces, when Uther the Lightbringer embarked for Caracara in Darrowmere Lake on a mission to aid and comfort those suffering from the war, he was ambushed by Alterac pirates during the Battle of Darrowmere. In the naval battle that followed, some of the sailors were captured, and Uther uncovered a conspiracy which would reveal that Alterac had betrayed the Alliance. During questioning in Lordaeron's capital, they confessed their nation's treachery to the Alliance, leading to Alterac's eventual ruin. Uther completely eliminated the orc presence in Lordaeron and also aided Lothar in the final battle of Blackrock Spire. He was named Lightbringer by Tyrion, a brother paladin who he had trained, and the lieutenant of Anduin Lothar after the Battle of Blackrock Spire. Eventually the Lightbringer led the final assault against the Burning Blade clan at the Dark Portal alongside Tyrion. After the Horde's defeat at the end of the Second War, Uther, along with Tyrion and the Knights of the Silver Hand, were stationed in Stormwind City, with their main base being the Cathedral of Light. The city was still being rebuilt after the First War, and the cathedral was one of the few places complete. There, Uther helped the sick, injured, orphans, old, and occasionally helped women give birth. However, Tyrion admits he'd rather be on a battlefield. Even Illyria shared a tease about the paladins being reduced to nurses. In the years following the Second War, Uther continued to serve as a stalwart knight and cleric, protector of the Alliance and its people, and mentor to new paladins of the Silver Hand. Uther maintained peace in Lordaeron by settling civil disputes among men and suppressing demi-human uprisings throughout the realm. At some point, the Lightbringer visited Caracara once again. As he became the most elite of the remaining paladins, he began to tutor King Tyrannus' talented son, Prince Artus, in the way of the light, and in fighting. He had to keep an eye on Artus during his youth. They became good friends and knew each other like family. He once accompanied Tyrannus on a diplomatic mission to Stromgarde. Uther was also present at Artus' ceremonial of becoming a paladin and gave him a pair of ceremonial shoulder plates and the blessing of the light. Artus continued to train under Uther, With the passing of time, Uther increasingly withdrawn into spiritual aspect of the light. Years later, Uther led the court of Tyrion Fordring in Stratholme. He heard the statements of Tyrion as well as Saidan, Datrahan, and Barthilis. Uther seemed to have convinced the jurors, Archmage Antonidas, Archbishop Fowl, Prince Artus, and Admiral Dalen Proudmoore to give Tyrion another chance in light of his long years of service to Lordaeron and its allied kingdoms, to reaffirm his commitment to alliance and forsake the vow to Aetheric, which would grant Tyrion a full pardon. Tyrion reconfirmed his commitment to the alliance. However, he could not throw away his vow to Aetheric. Uther, disappointed with this answer, sentenced Tyrion to be cut off from the light, the paladin's ship, and to be sent into exile. Because of their friendship, however, Uther's last token to the former paladin was that his family, Caracara and Talon, did not have to be exiled. As the troubles of the Third War first began, Uther was honoured that Artus joined him in defending the town of Stranbrad from raiding orc renegades of the Blackrock clan and the Blade Master of the Blackrock clan, who had eluded capture under the leadership of the deadly Jubelthos. While Uther defended the town, Artus engaged the encamped orcs with Uther's help. Artus managed to destroy the encampment and kill the Blade Master. Uther was not brought into action again until he was unexpectedly met by Jaina one day. She had come rushing from Heartglen with news that the town was under heavy attack by the Scourge. Uther rushed to the defence with the Silver Hand at his back, but the town had taken severe damage and Artus was barely holding out. Horrified, humiliated, and disturbed by his near defeat, Artus quickly left for Stratholme, where he hoped to engage Mal'Ganis. Uther followed him, and they found that Stratholme had been infected with the plague. Artus, knowing what that meant, ordered Uther to purge the city. Uther, horrified, refused to do so, at which point Artus charged him with treason, disbanded the Order of the Silver Hand, and sent him away. Uther confided in Tyrannus after Artus left for Northrend, and together they decided that Artus had been compromised, most likely from the stress he endured at Heartglen, and ordered an emissary to find him and order him to return. Artus finally did return some weeks later, though he was somehow different. Nevertheless, Lordaeron's capital erupted in festival to celebrate their returning hero. The festivity turned to horror as Artus proceeded into the throne room and impaled his father on the rune blade Frostmourne. Tyrannus was ceremonially cremated and ensconced within a magical urn. Uther, dismayed at having lost two friends to the darkness, volunteered to personally guard the urn in Anderhall. The town was raided by Artus and his undead minions, who sought the magical urn for necromantic purposes. Uther stood against Artus and his minions in an epic battle and initially had the upper hand, knocking Artus down and sending Frostmourne flying from his hands. The lights aura around Uther grew blindingly bright as he prepared the killing blow. When the sword seemed to find its own way into Artus's hands, and he was granted more power by the Lich King. The battle had begun to turn in Artus's favour, and Uther, covered in blood from his wounds, fell to his knees, telling Artus he hoped there was a special place in hell waiting for him. Artus replied he intended to live forever before delivering the killing blow. Uther was slain by the hands of his former pupil, whom he loved dearly. Uther's body was recovered after the battle with Artus by followers of the Alliance and laid to rest in a great tomb. The tomb is located in the Western Plaguelands, east of Chillwind Camp, the only light in a land of darkness. The marker stone in the tomb reads, "First Paladin, founder of the Order of the Silver Hand. Uther lived and died to defend the kingdom of Lordaeron. Though he was betrayed by his most beloved student, we believe that his spirit lives on. He continues to watch over us, even as the shadows close in around our ruined land. His light is the light of all humanity, and so long as we honour his example, it shall never fade. Although his body was slain, it was not enough to destroy the great champion of the light that Uther was. People visiting his tomb in western Plaguelands might be able to see the meaning of the words carved on the marker stone by his tomb, for his spirit does live on, appearing to adventurers, members of the Alliance and Horde alike. His ghost expresses wisdom, words of gratitude to those who have come to honour his memory, and words of forgiveness to those who would wish harm for him even in death. Uther is generally viewed as a hero and a martyr who was loyal to his nation, order, and king to the death. Being the creator of the Knights of the Silver Hand, a commander during the Second War, and instrumental in rallying the Shaken Alliance to victory after the death of Anduin Lothar, has immortalized him as one of the greatest knights and holy men ever to live in the eyes of many. However, there are paladins who criticized him for the very things he is extolled for. They say that Uther was so loyal to the throne that he did not dare to stop Artus from killing the citizens of Stratholme. By this dichotomy, Uther has come to be seen as a source of hope and inspiration to many, and a representation of blind devotion and negligence to others. Thank you for watching, and as always, remember, play the game and game to play.